What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Crush City Territory. I'm Chandler Rome along with Tyler Stafford after the Astros avoid the absolute worst case scenario at T-Mobile Park, but again are dealt a pretty devastating injury blow to a lineup that can ill afford it. They see their American League West lead trimmed to 4 games, but Tyler, they somehow come out on Sunday. They fall behind 3-0 against Brian Wu, who was an all-star last week, who is maybe the Mariners' best starter. Their best starter, Hunter Brown, did not have his best stuff. They fall behind 3-0. They score 11 unanswered runs, win 11-3. I don't know if there's many must-win games for a team in first place in July, but if there are, today felt like one.
It definitely felt like one in the sense of, you're right. I mean, it's not must win that the season's over, but I don't want to get on a plane after getting swept by the Mariners coming off the All-Star break. And yeah, you're right, especially with Paredes going down with ruptured leg or whatever he's going to end up having. You had to pull one out, and especially after last night's game of fighting back, kind of getting that momentum, and then losing again. You kind of lost that game twice. So tough to have a 4-game sweep in a 3-game series, but that's what it felt like it would have been if they'd lost today. So good to get one. I do want to point out, remember when you got on here just whining about fans that, the Astros drafted Xavier Nyans as the replacement, and you're like, what are you people talking? He might be the only healthy infielder in the Astros organization. He might be in Phoenix tomorrow. I mean, who knows at this point? They might need him.
He was on the field for BP on Friday before the game.
Get him out there. What are we doing?
He probably could have fit him for a uniform, and he probably could have played a little bit on the left side of the infield today for them because knows they need it.
They sent Cesar Salazar down, which I was going to say he could just have his spot and sit on the bench. So, I mean, yeah, look, they're running out of people. I mean, they put in Zach Short after determining 2 hours earlier that he was not healthy enough to play, and then they just ran out of warm bodies, and we're like, all right, buddy, get out there and try not to hurt your rib or whatever you said was hurting earlier. Do your best. So who knows, man?
He took 97 off the ribs on Saturday and then couldn't play in the day game the next day. I'll give Zach Short a pass.
You know what? Hand up. I wouldn't go to work either if I took 97. Nope. No, thank you. So I'm with you on that one, bud.
Absolutely not. Before we get into more about this Mariner series, I want to remind you guys about a giveaway we have going on Chat BCC in our Chat BCC group chat. It's expiring soon, so listen closely. If you think you know ball, prove it in our trivia game for a shot at winning an authentic MLB jersey of your choice. It's up to $400 value. So here's how you enter. You can sign up at foulterritory.chat. Play trivia, and you might win. We're picking one winner from the top 10 scorers at random. The deadline is tonight at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. So a little bit of time left for you to get involved, but you should definitely do it if you feel so obliged, because you can win an MLB jersey if you answer some trivia questions correctly. So get on that as soon as you can. But Tyler,
so real quick, I always chuckle at that where it's like win an MLB jersey up to $400, and every time I want to say what jersey is over $400, and then I saw one of my Yankees Twitter friends tweeted, did you see the Ralph Lauren Yankees hat? Do you know what I'm talking about? It's just a Yankees hat that's purple, and it has the signature Ralph Lauren on the side. Take a guess at what this hat costs.
I'm going to go at least $300.
It is $495, and it literally is just a Yankees hat. So anyway, apparently, you can get a jersey with us, and it'll be a little better for you.
I'm gonna pass on the $400 hat. You just said you have friends on Yankee Twitter. If you think people hate you in the YouTube comments now, just wait.
Brother, do I look like a guy that turns down a friend? Look, if you're nice to me on the internet, I am nice back. That's all I got in me. What do you want from me?
You've got a friend. You've got a friend in Tyler.
Tyler, is that a Taylor Swift, right? Is that what you were doing?
No, that's
it's nice to have a friend.
That's You Belong With Me. That's not You Have a Friend. You've got a friend in me. That's
Toy Story, of course. Big in our house.
You Belong With Me is Taylor Swift.
Thank you.
Just trying to keep you educated there.
Sure.
So I was sitting at a Houston watering hole on Saturday, uh, half watching the game, half enjoying some downtime with some friends, and I look up and I see out of the corner of my eye, I see a player wearing gray, completely limping down the first base line, and in my mind, I'm like, if it's one of like three guys, I have to leave and go. I have to leave, go home, and write. And of course, it was one of those three guys. It was Isaac Paredes who sustained what looked like a pretty gnarly right hand. They're calling it a right hamstring strain. He is back in Houston as we speak, getting further imaging. I would imagine we're recording this on Sunday. I would imagine on Monday we'll have a more concrete timeline, severity, how long he'll be out. You would think we'd get that, but who knows? Tyler, just a team that can ill afford anything else. This was the absolute last thing that they needed, was to see him pull up lame. And this does not look like his previous injury where he missed 3 games and was back. It looks like this one's going to cost him a little bit of time.
Yeah, I mean, with the Astros, anytime you don't get the like, oh, we'll just let him sit on the bench for 2 days and see what, like, the fact that they immediately put him on the IL,
Mhm.
that's not good. I don't know if you've ever smoked a brisket before, but I'm assuming that the inside of his leg right now looks like after 20 hours on a smoker, where you just lift it up and all
Yeah,
of the
just
meat
falls
falls
off.
off. Yeah, that's what I'm guessing is going on inside of there. I guess we'll have to wait for, I don't know. Can you do imaging on hamstrings? We'll find out in 3 to 4 days, I'm sure. But yeah, that did not look good. And again, they don't. It's funny you say one of the three guys. Normally that means, like, because they're the superstars. But you mean because the Astros have three major league players in their lineup currently, and if one of them goes down, you have to go write about it because everybody else is like an NPC character from Grand Theft Auto that you're like, who is this guy? So yeah, didn't want to see that, and it did not look good. So who knows what's going to happen, but it cannot be good.
Isaac Paredes is the 16th Astro that is currently on the injured list. That's the most in
Mm-hmm.
baseball. Of those 16 players on the injured list, 5 of them were in the Astros opening day lineup.
Cool.
That is Brendan Rodgers, Jake Myers, Jordan Alvarez, Jeremy Pena, and now Isaac Paredes. There is no concrete timeline for any of them to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that collision? Brendan
That
Rodgers,
was
Triple? That
rough.
was rough. Holy hell! That looked like a target. That looked like a bad Conference USA quarterback gave his slot receiver like a death ball, like threw it behind him, and he just got lit up. Like
Yeah.
that was out. And of course, like that was so apropos of the Astros season that the third inning of this dude's rehab assignment, he gets like the freakiest infield collision you'll ever see. He has a nasal fracture and a concussion. I do not imagine Brendan Rodgers will be back anytime soon.
Well, they moved him to the 60-day, right?
Yeah, but that's a paper move. They needed a 40-man roster spot. That doesn't change when he can be activated, but yeah, he's not coming back
How?
anytime
How?
because he's been out for so long.
Oh, because it's retroactive or
It's all
whatever.
retroactive, yeah. So like anytime you see a 60-day IL placement, 95% of the time it's a paper move. Like they did it with Jordan Alvarez in Denver a couple of weeks ago. But did you remember that, like, when they made the announcement, they literally put in parentheses, like, Jordan Alvarez moved to the 60-day DL, parentheses, he can still be activated tomorrow. Like
Okay.
it's a paper move to
Okay.
open a 40-man spot for John Singleton, who has
We're
found his way
back.
back onto the Astros roster because, of course, he has. You knew that was coming, but I think the Paredes injury kind of gives us an avenue to discuss what is really hurting this team. No pun intended. They've lost
Everything.
everything, but they've lost 7 of their past 9 games, and I think a lot of the talk is about the lineup. It's about what we just talked about. They have 5 guys on their opening day lineup on the IL. They don't have Jeremy Pena. They don't have Jordan Alvarez. They don't have Jake Myers. Like, this is not a representative lineup that can run out there every day. But if you look a little deeper, um, since Jordan Alvarez went on the IL on May 3rd, the Astros are averaging 4.67 runs per game. League average is 4.39. So for a span of about 68 games, this has been an above average offense, run production wise, without Jordan Alvarez in the lineup. Jeremy Pena fractured his rib on June 27th. In that span, in all the games since June 27th, the Astros are averaging 5.3 runs per game. Now, that number comes a little bit of a caveat because that 18-run outburst against the Dodgers is in that number, and today's 11-run outburst in Seattle is in that number. Take those two games out, and it's 4.13 runs per game, which is below league average, but that is with the pitching staff that the Astros claim to have. If you're scoring right around 4.2 runs per game, that should be enough, especially with this lineup with the names that are in it. The problem is the Astros pitching staff has really started a regression in July, and it is putting pressure on a lineup that is ill-equipped to carry this team. Like, no offense to the guys that are in there, they're trying their best, but this is not a lineup that can carry a team. So when you start to look under the hood at the numbers, in July, the Astros have a 4.52 ERA as a team. There's only 10 pitching staffs with a higher one this month. Their starters in that time span have a 5.42 ERA. There's only 5 rotations that have a higher ERA in July. The fact of the matter is the run prevention is breaking down, and that is forcing a lineup with Taylor Trammell, Cooper Hummel, Zach Short, Bryce Matthews, Shea Whitcomb. It's forcing them to carry this team, and that is not a recipe for success. So Tyler, do you think this is just natural regression for the pitching staff, or do you think this is just something that is a little of more growing concern to you?
I mean, we've been saying it all year that they have two guys that you can mostly rely on. Again, I know Hunter Brown's had a couple of bad starts in a row, but over the course of a year, you're going to assume that when Hunter Brown or Framber Valdez is pitching, you got a pretty good chance of winning. But even on the last episode, we talked about how you can't build around needing to win 70-80% of the starts from your two horses. And that's what they've had to do. And that's what they've done for most of the years, win 70% of those games. But they don't have starters outside of those two guys. And
Can I interrupt you real quick? Let's give Brandon Walter his due.
He has been very good.
He has been a godsend for this. So I would push back a little bit on they don't have more. Brandon Walter is very quickly entering that circle of trust, but continue.
For sure. Brandon Walter is a number 4, number 5 starter that you need over the course of a season. That's one of the guys that you can rely on. But, again, he's not going to, even as good as he's been, I guarantee you nobody's looking at the matchup and being like, this is one the Astros have to win because this guy's in, the lineup today. And it's shown when you don't have ace level stuff from Brown and Valdez, not only does it make that game scarier, it makes your whole week scarier because now you're going, well, you definitely have to pick up some from these other 3 games. And those are not ones that you can typically assume that you're going to have, a better chance of winning than the other team. And yeah, the bullpen's had some regression. That's going to happen. Josh Hader was not going to go 50 for 50 for saves this year. Brian Abreu all year has had worse underlying numbers than what his actual performance stuff was, just with the amount of walks that he has. And of course, we saw the wild pitch lead to a run yesterday. But again, those are still guys that you're going to be okay with. You're not nervous about them over the course of a season. But when all of those happen in conjunction, it really shines a light on there's 4 pitchers that you trust. There's 4 hitters you can name, right? And everything else is well, they've been which goes to show how insane it was that the Astros were 17, 18 games above 500 going to the All-Star break. They shouldn't have been. They have the true talent level of a 500, a little bit better than that team, the way they are currently constructed, and they outperformed that, and now we're kind of seeing a little bit of the regression to that, which is why it's so important that at some point you're allowed to have your injured players play again. Uh, we'll see if that happens, but I mean, it does go to show you got a week and a half now before the trade deadline. You got to go get somebody. You're not about to feel confident with the team that you have now for the next 3 months, because you're seeing what the true level of, again, like you said, no disrespect, but this is a team made up of predominantly quad A guys and young talent that's you're not completely relying on yet, and you got to go get some help.
I wonder, and we may save this for the next segment, but I wonder, did this weekend, and you don't want to be prisoner of the moment on a weekend, just like we talked about when they swept the
So
Dodgers.
true.
Just like when they talked about when they swept the Dodgers, it was one series in July. Just like this series against the Mariners, it's one series in July. You don't want to overreact. I'm almost now moving toward like pitching has to be there
It
foremost.
100% has to be. Yes.
Like I know that everyone's going to talk. Like again, I think because the injuries have just looked so bad on the position player side, and the amount of stars that are missing, I understand why the convenient narrative is to say, oh, they've got to go get hit. They've got to get a bat. They've got to get a couple bats. Like I just rattled off what they've done in Alvarez's absence and what they've done in Pena's absence. Like the offense has been okay. Like they're scoring enough runs. I just, for me, I think they are to the point where I know they've got Spencer Arrieta just made a rehab start. Christian Javier made one this weekend. Luis Garcia did too. They all three did. And they all looked relatively good. But I'm to the point now where like I don't care if it's relief. I don't know if it's adding another reliever to kind of take some of the load off of Abreu and Hader. I don't know if it's getting a veteran number 3 to make sure that you don't count too much on Arrieta, Javier, and Garcia. But I think for me, it has moved from, maybe being in the middle to saying that this team needs to get pitching at the deadline. That is their priority.
Correct. No, they have to get a number 3 starter. That's non-negotiable. They have to, because again, those guys coming back, you hope that they are at the level that they had been before, but we all know that is rare to be able to come back and immediately be as good as you were, and to have the length that you were able to go before. I mean, you can't rely on those guys. You have to go get a starting pitcher. There's just no way around it. And I agree. I think you need another bullpen arm of just a guy that can get outs every other day and take that pressure off. Because a lot of times the Astros are in a position where they're winning games by a couple of runs, but that means most of those games they're using both Abreu and Hader, and then you can't go those guys too often. But there's not a lot of games where you're using one and not the other, and so you're really stuck in a position where you almost can't play 3 close games in a row, because who are you going to throw at the end of the game? So yeah, I think you certainly need another reliever. Because again, a lot of these guys that we're talking about on the hitting side, the people who've replaced them have done okay enough of a job that, it's not going to ruin you. And those guys presumably will be back soon, and you can project out a hitter coming back from injury, I think, a little more, favorably than you would a pitcher.
Right.
At any moment, any of these guys who are making rehab starts can feel something in their elbow, and we won't see them until next year. That's just how it works. Even with Jordan's like constant setbacks, it's still like, all right, well, as soon as his hand is fine, he'll come. It's not like a devastating thing. But look, all 3 of those guys that we're talking about coming back pitching, the likelihood of all 3 of them making it to the majors healthy and then making it to the end of the year healthy and effective is really, really low. And so you have to go get some help there.
Yeah, they need that, and they need a right-handed leverage reliever too. And I think
you and your hands, okay? I can't help you with that. All I can do is say the position and what they need. But you're getting it too specific. All
Well, I
right.
mean, Brian Abreu is the only right-handed reliever that they trust in
I don't
leverage.
care what hand they throw with. Get
I mean,
outs.
the other team does, the other manager does, but
No,
yeah,
who
they
cares?
I mean, their leverage plan right now when they have a lead is Bennett Souza or Brian King, depending on what inning the starter exits. It's Bennett Souza or Brian King, Brian Abreu, Josh Hader. That's three left-handed pitchers and a righty. They need, and I think Saturday's game accentuated why. Like they tried to get Hector Neris out there to keep the game close, and that didn't work. Caleb Ort needs a shout out for today. Got 6 massive outs for them today after Hunter Brown had a short outing.
Every out from him is massive.
He is a large man,
Mhm.
but yeah, they need either Caleb Ort to continue that progression, or they need a right-handed leverage reliever. And again, that could come because when you get into the playoffs, you know this, Tyler. Like when you get into the playoffs, like you only need a certain amount of starters. Like
Yeah,
you can
you
put
need 3.5.
right. You can put Christian Javier in the bullpen if you need to. You can
Speaking of
put,
Saturday's game, I've got a great idea for a right-handed leverage reliever that the Astros already have on their team. That might be able, if they can go get a starter, that maybe they can move to the bullpen. But we can talk about that later.
we'll talk about that after a message from DraftKings. Nothing beats relaxing on a hot summer day and watching baseball. And the simplest way to get in on the action is to download the Pick 6 app from DraftKings. It's crazy simple. Just pick more or less on the stats for 2 or more of your favorite players, and boom, you're in the mix for big cash prizes. Nail your picks and you're heating up. Pick 6 brings upside with payouts up to 500 times. Pick 6 from DraftKings is the most fun way to play fantasy sports. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code FOUL. That's code FOUL for new customers to get a special sign-up offer. Better payouts, bigger wins. Only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Is that the first time in your life you've said nothing beats relaxing on a hot summer's day? That feels like not a sentence you've said before.
Do you think I ever relax on a hot summer day? Like, no. Like, that is not a sentence that has ever come out of my mouth. They paid me to say that, though. So if you pay me, I'll say anything.
Okay.
Believe me. Clip that and no. If you pay me, I will say anything. You mentioned Saturday gave you an idea for a right-handed leverage reliever. It's the conversations around Lance McCullers are about to get pretty. I don't want to say awkward. I don't think awkward is the right word. I just think they're going to have some pretty hard conversations with him upcoming because again, another outing that just he did not give the team a chance, and he put the bullpen in a very bad spot. He got 8 outs, allowed 4 earned runs, gave up 5 hits, walked 3 guys. He has now made 11 starts this year, and he has failed to finish 6 innings in, I believe that is, if I'm doing my math right, he has failed to finish 6 innings in 8 of his 11 starts this year.
Yeah. Everybody see the vision with me. Remember in the first inning where he came in through 12 pitches, got 3 outs at the top of the lineup, and you're like, way to go. Imagine if that's the 8th inning, right? Like he can do it. We've seen him do that. And again, I saw a lot of people on the internet going like, well, you can't just move a guy from a starter to a reliever when they have bad control. Brother, that's why everyone is in the bullpen. They don't have control over a consistent amount of time, and you just don't notice it because the days that they come out and they don't have control, they give up 1 or 2 runs over an inning, and you forget about it, and they come back 2 days later, and they look fine. Lance has shown the ability to come in and have it, but then you lose it over the course of a game. And the honest truth is that he just has not shown that he's capable of starting, whether it's because he's coming back from injury or, the lack of control, whatever. I'm not saying that he is not a starting pitcher forever or that he can't do it, because again, 5 days from now, he can come out and do what he did against the Dodgers, right? Like those things happen, But I'm saying from a roster construction standpoint, the thing that you can rely on more frequently from him is to come out and get a couple outs, and that's what the team needs right now. They can't continue flipping a coin and saying, are we getting 5 2/3 Lance today, or are we getting 2 1/3? You can't go the rest of the season like that, and until you prove that you can at least consistently get length and get outs, you can't be a starter. That's nothing against him, and again, that's not saying that he can't do it eventually, but we can't keep doing this every 5 days. It can't happen.
Well, right now they don't have a choice.
Well,
they really, at this point, they don't. They don't.
Yeah.
They now what the point I'm trying to make here is Spencer Arrighetti threw 3 innings in Corpus Christi yesterday, on Saturday. Christian Javier did, I believe, through 3 innings on Friday. Luis Garcia pitched at Single-A Fayetteville today. Dana Brown, the Astros GM, was on the pregame show with Robert Ford today, insinuated that Arrighetti is going to be the first to come back, then Javier, then Garcia. It sounds like they're even toying with, I think Arrighetti's going to make another rehab start, but they're maybe even toying with the idea of after that, even if he's not fully built up, just bring him to the big leagues and letting him build up in the big leagues, kind of like what the Dodgers are doing with Ohtani right now, but not near to that level where it's going to be 1 inning and then 2 innings. Like Arrighetti will be built up to around 60, 65 pitches, and they can build him up the rest of the way in the big leagues.
Four innings sounds great from a starter, so go for it.
The conversations with Lance McCullers are going to get more difficult when those guys are ready to come back. And I don't want to lose sight of the fact that Lance is trying to do something that I don't think it's unprecedented, but there are very few guys that miss 915 days
Correct.
and then come back and pitch in the big leagues. Like, this is not easy what he's trying to do. His entire right arm has been reconstructed more times over than we care to count. Like, he is a completely different pitcher with a completely different arm now than the one you saw in 2017 and 2018. I don't want to lose sight of how hard it is to do what he is doing. But when these guys are ready to come back, we just talked about, if it is a merit performance-based thing, like Brandon Walter has a spot in this rotation no matter what when these guys come back. Colton Gordon has pitched okay. He's been fine sometimes he hasn't. Ryan Gusto kind of in the same boat. You look at those two guys, they do have options left. They can send those guys back down, and they probably will send a couple of those guys down just to send them to Sugarland, to keep them stretched out, to have them as insurance, because you can't keep guys stretched out at the big league level if they're not in your major league rotation. So for their development and for the team's overall well-being, they may send those guys down when the other guys are ready and keep Lance. Lance's roster spot is not in jeopardy. Don't get me wrong here, but they will keep Lance in the rotation in some way. But in some ways, Tyler, and if I'm completely off on this, like, let me know. This feels a lot like the conversations that if we had a podcast last year, we would have been talking about with Justin Verlander in like September of last year, where it was like, you respected the absolute hell out of everything the guy did, out of the career he had, out of the legend and the Hall of Famer he is. Lance certainly doesn't have those credentials, but the same amount of admiration and respect that a lot of fans have for Verlander, they have for McCullers, for what he has done for the city, for the franchise, things like that. But at the end of the day, it just came down to the simple fact that he wasn't pitching well. They had better options than him to pitch, and they acted accordingly. I wonder if we're going down that same road, or if we're eventually going to be going down that same road with Lance McCullers, maybe in about 2 or 3 weeks.
But you know what? Verlander, like you said, has way more accolades, way more of a right to say those things. And at the same time, that's the most confident man on the planet, right? Like, he walks into every
I don't know. Lance is probably a close second.
But my point is that there's a difference between confidence and cockiness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cockiness is like, I can do it despite what has been shown. And Verlander had the confidence to say, I know that I'm better than what I'm doing right now. I know that I am an inner circle Hall of Fame player, but I am also self-aware enough to know that I am not helping the team by going out there and taking these starts. And again, that was towards the playoffs. Like this would having that conversation in July wasn't going to happen. You were just going to keep running Verlander out there because if he had been there, is my point. This was a little easier because it was coming up to the playoffs and there's only so many of starting roles available.
Right.
But I mean, we're seeing it. Like it's not working, and this team isn't 15 games up in the division. You got 3 months left, and you're already starting to see some regression in the bullpen. Like we talked about, a lot of these guys are taxed. You can't keep doing this, and it's not from lack of trying. And like you said, hadn't pitched in 1,000 days, and then to come back as a starter is already crazy. Like if you took the name away and said, hey, this guy has been out for 900 days and he's a pitcher, where should we put him? Starting rotation of the bullpen, of course you would say, let that guy pitch in the bullpen. Like that's crazy to assume that he's going to go out and throw 100 pitches every 5 days. And so even at that level, it makes sense for him to be there. But you're right. It's a conversation that's going to have to happen. And honestly, I don't even know. I don't think it's a conversation. I think it's a conversation internally. And then it is, here's what's going to happen. Because like you said, this isn't a Verlander thing where you can say, hey, we're coming to you. You're Justin Verlander. Like this is not the same situation, despite what Lance has done for the Astros. I mean, he's always going to have that, and it's always going to be, I mean, 24 straight curveballs will go down in the lore of Astros fans as high as just about anything that's ever happened for the Astros. He's always going to have that, but I don't know how much longer they can do this.
Yeah, Lance could never throw another pitch.
Yeah,
and his legacy in this city, in this franchise, is secure.
Correct.
I mean, if they want to be like the White Sox, they could build him a statue. They built Jeff Blum. The White Sox built Jeff Blum a statue. Like,
is that true?
Yeah, he has a statue outside Guaranteed Rate Field.
I didn't know that.
He has a statue. Yeah, he hit that one home run one time. Remember?
How does he? I would say that every game. If I were a baseball broadcaster, I would find a way to bring that in. Did you know that one of the 30 MLB teams has built a statue of me outside?
Dude, they built a statue for me.
So yours is really good. Yeah, especially considering you don't have cable, so you can't be hearing him that often.
I mean, I talked to him in person. But,
sure. Okay.
Yeah. Look, Lance, presuming Lance is still healthy, and I have no reason to believe he's not, and presuming that they stay in rotation and he's going to make his next start, which again, I have no reason to believe Lance won't make his next start. It'll be against the A's, a team that he has had success against this season. He struck out 12 of them on May 28th at Daikin Park. It's a lineup that can be navigated. It will be interesting to see how he fares in that start. It will be at home where he has not pitched well all season, but then again, he just went on the road and did not pitch well either. So I think you can throw out all the splits, all like anything like it's a home problem, it's a road like no, this is an all encompassing.
It's a do I know where my fastball is going today problem, and I don't want to keep harping on this, but the for me. How I assume pitching works, which we're already way off of my depth. I have no idea what I'm talking about. But you hear starting pitchers say it all the time, like, I didn't have it today. But maybe tomorrow, if they had been pitching, something clicks and you have it on that day. But the hard part about being a starter is you only get one of those chances every 5 days. A reliever every day has a chance to come in and go like, I got it or I don't today. And the curve of when Lance has it or doesn't is real wide, and you don't know what you're going to get because, like you said, he's struck out 12 guys over 6 innings this year. There's not a lot of people on the planet that can say they have that in them.
Right.
So it's clear that Lance can do that. But the truth is he hasn't pitched in 3 years. Like you said, he's got like a Inspector Gadget arm in there and things malfunction. And that's not a mark against his character or his, tenacity to come back. It's none of that. It's just, look, man, you're in your 30s. You haven't pitched in a long time. Even before that, you had control issues. starting may just not be the correct option right now.
I think we've all come to understand while we're watching him pitch that he is a different pitcher. And you're talking about he doesn't know where the fastball is going. Like, he's barely throwing his fastball anymore. He doesn't throw the two seam.
I know why.
He barely throws the two seam. He threw a couple four seams against the Mariners for the first time in a long
Just
time.
to see.
He broke
Throw
out
some cutters.
But here's what he is. He is to righties. He's slider, changeup, or changeup sometimes to righties. Right and right changeup can be different, but he's mainly slider to righties, curveball, changeup to lefties. He threw 21 sliders against the Mariners, got 12 swings and no whiffs. He threw 20 curveballs against the Mariners, got 7 swings and 2 whiffs. His two primary pitches, his slider and his curveball, they took 19 swings and whiffed twice. He's not missing bats, and when he's unable to miss bats, he's having to be around the zone because I don't know if he's comfortable coming in zone a lot because he's getting hit on stuff that's in zone. So teams are pretty much now just going to lay off any spin because they probably realize he can't command the spin in zone, and that's what's creating the long innings. And Lance, he has talked about the last couple outings. He has gotten into a lot of 2-strike counts. He's gotten into a lot of 2-out situations with runners on base, just can't put guys away. That's part of it. And I think the fact that he is getting into so many 2-strike counts and that he's getting into advantage counts and just can't get it done, that just shows that, like, again, it's still in there. It's just he can't get over that hump. And you wonder if he's going to have enough time to get over that hump before they have to make some pretty drastic decisions, because I would imagine after listening to Dana Brown today, I would imagine Spencer Arrighetti is going to get maybe one more start at Double-A or wherever affiliate they send him in the next 5 days, and then his next start could be in the big leagues. Christian Javier probably needs a little bit more because he is recovering from arm surgery, so he probably is about 2 or 3 weeks away. Luis Garcia probably a week behind that. So, like, you're coming up to, like, they're going to have some pretty interesting conversations, and it'll be fascinating to see where those go.
Do you remember Ryan Presley? He used to play.
I do.
You mentioned a lot of Lance McCullers throws a lot of sliders and curveballs, and I was trying to think, is there any other reliever that I've watched get a lot of outs with just sliders and curveballs? And that's a pretty good track record that you can go with. And again, this is the last time we're going to talk about this, I promise. But you talked about not getting those whiffs on 2-strike counts or, whatever. If you're only going 1 inning, you can throw those a little harder. You can put a little bit more oomph behind it. And that's where you're going to generate more whiffs. That's just going to happen when you don't have to throw 100 pitches in a game and you only have to throw 15. Each one of those is a little more special. And the special curves and sliders from Lance McCullers are still some of the most special ones in baseball. Like that is without a doubt. When that thing is working, it's amazing to watch. And so you just hope that instead of trying to stretch that out over a longer period of time, you can focus in and just get those good ones from him, every other day.
Because I know how social media and aggregating and things work. Everyone's going to listen to this and just come out of it with all we're talking about is Lance is going to the bullpen.
Not happening. I'm
here to tell you, like, that is not happening in the immediate future. I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm not saying they won't broach the conversation, but that is not something that they have discussed. That is not something that I think is in the immediate plans. Lance McCullers was pretty adamant in spring training that he doesn't want to go to the bullpen. That, again, and he's not wrong. Like, everyone thinks that you can just put a starter in the bullpen and, like, or you can just move guys in and out of the bullpen whenever you want. Like, it is a completely different game down there. And we've already talked about, like, the trauma he has been through with his arm and having to, like, it is not an ideal situation to put a guy that's had this many surgeries, this much stuff done to his elbow and his arm and his flexor tendon in the bullpen, where there's a possibility you could have to get him hot. And then if something happens, you don't use him. And then, like, that is not good for the long-term health of McCullers, who, by the way, like, I don't have to remind everybody, you have a lot of money in him, and you need to extract.
I don't,
value.
but yes,
you don't. Jim Crane does.
Mm-hmm.
You need to extract as much value from that investment as possible. And that the easiest, most linear path to do that may be as a starting pitcher. However, tough it's going to be to watch that at times. Like, this is where I think they want him to be long term. But again, stranger things have happened. They could have that conversation and it could happen. I don't know. But all I can tell you is, as of this moment, that is not something that they are seriously considering. Now, things can change, but that's not something right now they're thinking about. Let's talk a little bit about John Singleton. Why not? It'll be very interesting to me to see how this new look roster is managed by Joe Espada, because like Cesar Salazar, God bless him, but like I don't really understand why he was on this roster for 2.5 months. He's a big vibes guy, loves coffee. Like, it's like, I get it. Like, good guy to have around, good insurance policy, good clubhouse guy, but like they were playing with 25 guys every night.
Unironically, Orbit touched the field more than him in the last 2 months, for sure.
Yeah, no, it's tough. So getting him out and putting John Singleton on the roster, you have a more functional roster. There is a world in which John Singleton is just the last guy on the bench who gets summoned to hit against a leveraged right-handed reliever late in games. There is that.
Cool.
There's that reality. There's also a world where you look at Yainer Diaz's continued struggles. You look at Victor Caratini, who got 3 more hits today and has an OPS up to 786, who has, among the healthy position players that are left on the Astros roster, Victor Caratini has the second highest OPS plus behind Jose Altuve. Not a stretch to say he's been one of their 2 or 3 best hitters all season. He hit third today.
Yep.
And I know it was in a shorthanded. I know it was in a lineup that Joe Espada was pulling names out of a hat at that point. But the fact that he hit third just demonstrates to you how much they value his at-bat quality, how much they value his offense. And I don't think they're going to cut his playing time. So with Singleton now on the roster, they can do it a couple different ways. They can make a more even distribution of the catching playing time between Victor Caratini and Yainer Diaz. That would allow John Singleton to DH. That would allow, him and Caratini to be in the lineup together and gasp. They'd have 2 left-handed hitters in the same lineup. Like, when's the last time that happened? They could do that. Christian Walker had a better weekend in Seattle, a couple plate appearances with runners in scoring position notwithstanding. Hit a massive homer today off Brian Wu. Had a couple hits with runners in scoring position, I believe, in the Saturday game. So, I mean, it's turning a corner, and I don't think there's ever a world where they're going to play Victor Caratini a good bit at first, because they value Walker's defense so much. And especially with this infield now looking anonymous and completely like skeleton crew, you need somebody to kind of be the stable defensive force. And Christian Walker can clean up a lot of bad throws. He can clean up a lot of just everything in the infield. So I don't envision that playing time method changing, but I do wonder if John Singleton's now on the roster and they want to get him as many at bats against right-handed pitching as they can, may it come at the expense of Yainer Diaz?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's certainly possible. I think that would have to happen because Singleton is like forcing his way in with the bat. They're not going to like go in with that plan. But I mean, like you said, even if it's a late inning at bat, the Astros have 17 guys somewhere that can play 3 infield positions and 2 outfield positions and can't hit. That's most of the people on their roster right now. So you're right. I think it's just the first time one of those guys comes up with runners on in the 7th inning or later. You pinch hit for that guy, and then you put one of the other guys that all came out of the same mold into their position, and you just go with it from there. I mean, again, we saw it today. Zach Short couldn't play 2 hours ago, and he comes in and takes over for Zach Short or whoever else. It's all the same person. Like, they're all doing the same thing. So you pinch hit for one of them with Singleton, and you put the other one out there afterwards. I think that's what we're going to see a whole lot more of, where Singleton's just getting one at bat a game, and you're just moving guys around.
Yeah, I think that's probably the way they're going to do it. But, let's not forget John Singleton he was an above average major league hitter last season with a representative sample size. This is not a guy that has done nothing. Like he was hitting in AAA. He gives you the perfect kind of at bat that this team needs. He's going to swing at strikes. He's not going to swing at balls. If he hits it, it's going to go very far and be very loud, and there's going to be a glorious bat flip at the end. He can get on base, but I think to begin with, it will be what you just described as they bring in a leverage right-handed reliever in the 7th or 8th inning, and they have the bottom of the order coming up. John Singleton get in there and take a better at bat than whoever's at the bottom of the order would take.
He is the Orlando Palmeiro Memorial 7th inning pinch hitter. Like that's what he's going to be, and he's really good at that. We've said that all year. It's like that's the guy that you want to come in and take a good at bat. At the end of a game, he's really good at that. And yeah, you don't have to convince me that John Singleton is a good hitter. I've been around for a while. It's going to take a lot for me to believe that John Singleton's not a good hitter if I'm still here 12 years later.
I just want to see one more bat flip. I want to see one more bat in person.
It's coming on a single down the line. Don't worry.
I want him to bat flip a single.
It's coming.
Oh, it will. Couple little housekeeping things before we get out of here. One thing that had been coming up a lot since the Astros called up Shea Whitcomb again for the 50th time this year. Mm-hmm. There is a rule that says you can only option a guy in season 5 times. And if you do it on the 5th time, you have to expose them to waivers and they could be claimed by another team. There were a lot of people that were right. I was one of them. I was reading Fangraphs and looking at the transaction log, and it does show that they have optioned him 4 times. They've actually only optioned him 3 times in season because the 4th option was his spring training option when he got optioned from big league camp down to the minor league side. That does not count. I checked on that today. That does not count into the in-season option. So Shea Whitcomb's only been optioned 3 times, which means inevitably whenever he is optioned again, when this roster becomes fully healthy, that will only be the 4th time, and they will not need to expose him to waivers. So
I assume you don't mean it like at the playoffs too. So if they option him one more time, he comes back in September, before the playoffs.
They'll be expanded rosters then, so they can keep him
right.
Without option. But the point is, Shea Whitcomb is not in danger of going on waivers imminently. Now, they could get into a bind and have to option him again, and then that could create some worry, but who knows? But right now he is fine. He's only been optioned 3 times in season. I'm in Phoenix where the Astros are going to play the Arizona Diamondbacks, who just absolutely pasted the Cardinals for 3 straight games to start the second half. This is a hot Diamondbacks team that is playing for its life right now. This is a desperate D-backs team because they're at that point where these next 10 games are going to determine whether they buy or sell at the deadline. Really, whether they sell. I don't think they're going to be a massive buyer, but this is, Eugenio Suarez is hitting homers like every other at bat right now. He's probably the top trade candidate out there. The Astros are going to face Zach Gallen tomorrow, who is probably up there. He's be a rental starter, someone that the Astros could look into. Merrill Kelly will not pitch in this series, but is a Houston native who is also a rental starter who, when you start to think about who the Astros could afford, that certainly makes some sense. So this will be a fun series just to see like a team that is going to be pushing all the chips in, a team that needs to win every game between now and July 31st to convince its front office to not tear them apart and break them up. But they're a hot team. They can really hit. Their pitching has been suspect all season, but they'll get Zach Gallen, who is very good but has bad numbers this year. Brandon Pfaadt will pitch the last game, and old friend Eduardo Rodriguez will pitch the middle game. Remember the 2021 ALCS when he pissed off Alex Cora by taunting Carlos Correa after striking him out? That was a great time.
That was fun.
That was
good
awesome.
one.
That was awesome. Can you name 5 Diamondbacks aside from the 4 I just named?
Josh Naylor.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Corbin Carroll.
Corbin Carroll, good player.
That might be about it. I assume at any moment Chris Stavinsky will come out of the bullpen, even though he's not there anymore. He's got Diamondbacks vibes.
He does.
Do you remember? Were you covering the game? No, because I think this might have even been maybe Hinch. I don't know. The Astros played in Arizona, and they did the reliever swap. So they had a guy come in. I can't remember who the pitchers were, but basically they brought in like a lefty and then they put him out to right field for a batter, and then they took that guy out and then brought him back in.
So this was before the 3-batter rule.
Yes, but
Yeah.
I think it also messed with. I mean, it messed with like the DH too. Whenever you do that, I can't remember. I think this might have been like a Bo Porter story. It was a while ago, but that was a good one. So maybe we'll see some of that.
My favorite Chase Field, covering a game at Chase Field memory, was actually a Lance McCullers memory. He was, I don't know if you remember this. It was either during the COVID season or it was 2021, I think. He was pitching great, like through 3 innings, like was unhittable. And they decided to open the roof mid-game, and Lance fell apart just effectiveness-wise, just like the 4th and 5th inning. Like, I don't think he finished the 5th inning, and he was livid after the game that they decided to open the roof mid-game. And
that's too bad, because I wish when Minute Maid first opened, Daikin or Enron, whatever we want to call it, when that first opened, they used to essentially like the 5th inning of every night game, they would open it, and it was the coolest thing ever. I wish that they would still do that. Obviously, this is why they don't, is that people lose their minds. But it ruled. Let me tell you, as a 12-year-old watching baseball inside, and then it pops open and it's nighttime out there, that was cool. I wish they could still do that.
You have a lot more players very mad if the roof just opened in the 5th.
That's okay.
inning.
They don't have the button to control the roof. Just keep going out there.
You think that's how they do it? It's just a button.
Yeah, it's got to be just a big like switch that Bobby Dynamite is working.
Yeah, I was about to say Bobby Dynamite probably.
He jogs over from the train to just the big roof button, yes, no, and then they click that and get back in the train.
Yes, no, BP. Because in BP sometimes they'll halfway open it.
Yep.
Shade the field so like the guys aren't dying, but like they can still get some natural sunlight in.
Let's be creative. Come on. Yeah. Put that thing at 70%. I don't care. Do it to mess with the other team.
That's basically what the roof is in Seattle. No, like that's like it's like something that not a lot of people realize. Like it is not an enclosed stadium. Like it's literally just basically a tarp. The roof is basically a tarp that they put over. Yeah. Like the sides are still open and everything. It's still like an open air stadium, but it's cool. Maybe they should look into that.
Mm-hmm. If they need a roof button designer, that's what I want to do.
That's you. All right. Well, we'll get that on your resume. And we'll talk about that more next time on Crush City Territory. We'll be back to talk about this Diamondback series. And as the trade deadline draws closer, we will talk about what the Astros need to do, what they should prioritize. I think you guys heard us today that pitching should be their foremost priority in the next 11 days leading up to the deadline. Until then, you can follow me on X at Chandler_Rome. You can follow Tyler at Tyler C. Stafford. Please, as always, rate and review us on Apple and Spotify. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get to know every time we post a new episode. As always, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for the outpouring of support and the nice comments, even the bad ones, even the not nice comments are fun to read too. We'll take more of the nice ones though, whenever you guys get a chance. We'll be back and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.
My buddy Aaron and his son Evan are going to Phoenix. So everybody be nice to them. Have fun. Bye.
Bye.